Welcome back to the Print 3D channel. Today is January 14th, and that means day 14, the 3DP 365 project. And on this episode, we're going to talk about the route planner and some of the issues I had with the print, so stick around. Welcome back, and thank you for joining me here on the Print 3D channel for day 14 of the 3DP 365 project. If you're unfamiliar with the project, check out the description below. I put a facts section down at the bottom that'll give you all the details. But on today's episode, we're going to talk about the route planner. And I printed this with MatterHackers PRO PLA in the color of black on the gMax 1.5 XT Plus. If you've ever been shopping on the internet for 3D printers, I'm sure you've come across the gCreate website. And in the download area, Gordon has created some models that you can download and print yourself. And one of those models is the route planner. Now, I've wanted to print this for quite some time, but the model is kind of intimidating. There's a very steep overhang, and I was a little worried that it wasn't going to print. But I've been tuning my printer over the last couple of months, and I felt confident enough to give it a shot. So we queued up the file and sent it to print. Now, this is a long print. It's about 7 to 8 hour print. So we let it print overnight. And this morning, lo and behold, the print was done. And it hadn't failed as a print entirely. But there were some issues, and I want to talk about those issues and see if you guys can help. So as Dustin, aka the JAT.MN, said in his live stream the other night, this is a community, and I'd like to reach out to that community and ask you guys for help. So I'm going to show some close-ups of the model at the end of the video, and I'd like to know what you guys think I should do to help fix this print. And you can leave some of your tips and tricks and some of your advice down in the comment section below. But for now, let's head over to Thingiverse and I'll show you where to download the model. Then we'll tab over to Simplify 3D and I'll show you my settings. Then I'll fire up some of that time-lapse footage and I'll meet you guys back at the workbench and we'll talk about some of those issues. Okay, so here we are at Thingiverse. Here is the Bonsai Planter, or the route planter as I called it earlier. And this is made by gCreate, the same people who make my awesome gMax 1.5 XT Plus. And this is a super popular model. It's printed quite a few times, 67 megs. Over 4,000 collections, and there's a few remixes. But we've already printed ours, and again, we did have some minor issues with it, but let's talk about that when we get back to the workbench. For now, let's tab over to Simplify 3D and I'll show you my settings. Okay, so here we are in Simplify 3D, and I've dropped the model down on the print bed, and according to the instructions, you can blow this up to 200%, so that's exactly what I did. Let's check out my process settings. For layer height, we used a 0.2 millimeter layer height. There are no top solid layers because we want this to be open at the top, but there are 4 bottom solid layers and 3 perimeters. We're also using a brim by entering 0 in the skirt offset at 4 outlines. We're not using any infill because we do want this to be hollow. We aren't going to use any support because I believe the gMax can handle this, no problem. For temperature, this is MatterHackers PRO PLA, and 205 is the optimum temperature. For cooling, we used a 2-stage cooling system. For the first 2 layers, the fan will be off completely, and then on the 3rd layer, it'll kick up to 80%. Under speed, we printed this at 40 millimeters per second because I believe that is a safe speed to print this. So I'll hit OK, and I'll hit Prepare to Print. Now I did blow this up to 200%. Alright, so the slicing is done. Let's take a look at the model. And let's play this through. And as you can see, there's quite a few smaller parts that join up to create the whole. And that's very cool. Gordon did an awesome job designing this. I'll just slide this down to the end here. Alright, so let's zoom in and take a look at the model and see if we can spot some of these errors. And right away I can see one of them. You can actually see the bottom layer through some of these layers here. So maybe blowing it up to 200% wasn't such a good idea. Let's exit out of here. Let's double click on the model and bring it back down to 100%. We'll hit done. We'll center this up. It's very small. And we'll go ahead and hit prepare to print. Now let's see if that changes any of the density of these lines here so they fill in more. And what do you know? I can still see through the model a little bit. Actually, you can see through the model quite a lot. Okay, so it wasn't a scale issue, so what could be the issue? So again, I posed the question, what can I do to fix my print? If I exit out of here and I double click and I make this back to 200% and and hit done and hit prepare to print, I'm getting the same issues. So it has something to do possibly with my settings. And I tab through each one of those, so if you have any suggestions on what I should do, please leave them in the comments below. And with your comments, suggestions, and tips, we'll apply those and we'll try and print this again. Now, I won't include this again in the 365 project. This will be a separate print. But I am going to print it again, and I am going to try and get it perfect. And as you can see here, you can see through the layers and see down to the bottom of the model. So we need to fix that. So let's fire up some of the time-lapse footage, and I'll meet you guys back at the workbench, and we'll continue this conversation on how to fix the model. Okay, so you saw my settings in Simplify 3D and you saw the time-lapse footage, and the print itself did not fail. And actually it turned out pretty good. I'm actually happy with the way this looks from a distance. But on close inspection, and I looked again in Simplify 3D and I found the issues, but I'd like to know what you guys think. If you look right here, and I don't know if you can see this, but I'll put close-ups in at the end, or maybe I'll put a little close-up in right now, but you can see that the material is almost translucent in some areas where it didn't quite fill in on this angle, on this rise here. And also there's a few other spots where it did a little similar issues where it did not complete areas of printing. And it's really weird. So when I looked at Simplify 3D and looked at the slicing settings, I tried adding more perimeters and a few other things, but I can still see through the area and see down inside the model into the infill and into the base of the model, in this area in particular. So I'm asking the community, what do you guys think I should do in Simplify 3D to improve this print? And I want to hear all your comments, all your tips, and all your suggestions. I'm open to anything at this point. I just want a really perfect 100% good print. And I really like the way this prints out. And the model is really great, and I've seen a lot of samples of it on Thingiverse that it has printed. So I know it's my settings. So I'm asking the community once again, help me make this print 100% perfect. Well, that about wraps it up for day 14 of the 3DP 365 project. I'm really anxious to hear you guys' thoughts. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, comment and like and share those videos, and join me again tomorrow on the next episode of the 3DP 365 project. I really love this model and I really want it to print 100%. So if you guys have suggestions, leave them down in the comments below.